My name is Jeremy Walton, and here's 5 ways to film more YouTube videos. Let's go! If you notice something different in my setup, you're right. The desk, even the color of the walls, but what's behind the camera has drastically changed. Although that's not what this video is about. That'll come later. This video is why I made some of those changes to my setup, and hopefully it'll help you film more YouTube videos. I know right away the debate between quantity over quality will come up, but let's not dive into that. Let's just get some YouTube videos out in the world. You choose the quality you want, and I'll show you how to be more efficient in producing those videos. There are a few things you can do that'll help speed up the process. Some of them I've learned over the years, and some I'm currently applying to my workflow. So I can come in here, hit record, and get to work. If you're having trouble pumping that content out, the first thing I suggest is finding the right location. Let's take a look at the first spot I chose when starting my YouTube channel. I love this setup. I actually spent a couple months getting this all together, from the paint, furniture, sound treatment, lighting, etc. My favorite was the depth. You could see all the way into my bedroom. Great setup, but such a pain to set up. Since you could see everything, that means everything had to be cleaned up before I filmed. And I didn't want anything disturbed during filming, so hands off everything that was in the frame. Most of the time my equipment was everywhere, or I just didn't have time during the week to clean up. So the day I planned to film was actually spent getting ready to shoot. This is why your location is so important. It might have looked good, but it was hindering my filming schedule because so much of my place was on camera. Now take this setup for example. This might be your best option. It's you and a wall. It doesn't have to be fancy. You point the camera in one direction and there's nothing to interfere with your filming. Now don't get me wrong, shooting into a white or beige wall might not look as good. That's something you should fix. Whatever you can do to change the color, I highly suggest it. As for these two 3D style maps, I've mentioned them in other videos. I fly between Los Angeles and Minneapolis all the time. 2 cities I spend a lot of time in, so I thought, why not display them on the wall? It's clean, simple, and once they're on the wall, you're done. Second on my list to give you more space is going wide with your setup. The one thing I ran into is if I wanted to show off something like a camera bag, it was going to be tough. That led me to this setup. At that time, I was bouncing between 2 setups, which meant moving lights and even furniture. Not the best idea if you're trying to create a lot of content. If you're sticking to one setup, then go wider. You can always punch in for a close-up, do inserts for smaller products, but have the room for larger items. My next tip, if you want to shoot more YouTube videos, is having a permanent setup. Having lights that never move can be a huge factor in pumping out those videos. Turn the lights on and go. Even having a cheap tripod, table, or even a shelf that stays in the same position can save you time. Sometimes it's just the thought of having to continuously set up the same equipment over and over that can become a little overwhelming. If it's possible to have a permanent setup that is 100% dedicated to YouTube videos, you won't regret it. Like I mentioned earlier, I've actually done that in this setup recently, which you will see in a future video. That's all the preview you get. Stay tuned. Another thing that should be on your list is filming in a controlled environment. What I did for this room is added some blackout shades. It doesn't matter now what time of day I film my videos. That'll open up options for you, which is good. With a controlled environment, your set will look the same every time. After you shoot your first video, you can save that look, and then no matter if I have a 5-minute or 45-minute video, you can drag and drop that look onto your entire footage and the grade is done. That's a huge time saver. That brings me to videos that have multiple locations. I've done several videos in multiple states, and I'm not saying you can't do them. Just know it really adds time to not only the edit, but grade, sound, style, choices, etc. It's something to think about when you're deciding to shoot a video. My first video I did on YouTube took a long time. I enjoyed the process, but knew I couldn't do that for every video. Each tip could have been its own video, but you live and learn. A lot of what I do now is a bit of everything. I do incorporate a lot of examples and quotes in my cinematic videos. This can be done anytime and anywhere. Most of the time I'm already reading cinematography articles, so if I read something I like, it goes right into my notes. I usually have 3 or 4 videos in the works, so by the time I get to my next video, I already have a chunk of the research done. The last tip to help you film more YouTube videos is probably the most important. You really need to schedule your time. Let's just face facts. If YouTube isn't your full-time job, then there's stuff that's going to get in the way of filming. Even if it's your full-time job, stuff gets in the way. For example, client work for me. Clients come first because I'm getting paid to do a job. I'm not gonna put them on the back burner. I do make time for YouTube when I have free time, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think people talk about how you must grind, work 24/7 to get stuff done, and at the same time you see videos about people being burnt out and not making time for what's important. Do you have to grind? Yeah, not many successful people I know of or heard of that don't work hard and work a lot. That doesn't mean they're working 23 hours a day. I also don't know anyone who only needs 1 hour of sleep. I need 6 hours. It's like clockwork. No matter what time I go to bed, after 6 hours, my body wakes up. Has there been times I got way less sleep for a shoot? Absolutely, but it's not an everyday thing. I can be consistent with what I do because I have a schedule and I can consistently do the things I need to do, and over time, that adds up. Not that I'm perfect. Let's not forget the things I mentioned earlier. Part of the process is determining things I need to change or be more efficient at to get the results I want. Only you know if you're sleeping 12 hours a day and not accomplishing the things you want to do. You can watch all the YouTube videos on motivation, but when the alarm goes off in the morning, it's up to you to get out of bed. Or maybe you get more work done at night, so screw those get up early videos. My thing is getting up early and hitting the gym. I like shooting videos later in the day. This isn't because I watched a video or I'm trying to copy someone. This is what I like to do and what makes me happy, so I schedule accordingly. That's the #1 thing I can recommend. When it comes to making YouTube videos, we can discuss the technical side, how to pick a location, backdrop, get a permanent setup, all the things necessary to get you in front of the camera and hit record. But the last thing, that's a conversation between you and you. It may take some time, it may be a work in progress, I know it is for me, but that's life. Find out what works for you, you probably already know. Well, there you have it, how to shoot more YouTube videos. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button because there's definitely more in the way. Subscribe so you don't miss out. But until then, comment below if you have any tips you'd like to share. And as for this episode, it's a wrap.